or like every day, sends me trade for Josh Giddey, and they're awful trades.
What? You're doing basketball again? I thought you got out. Come on, man.
I had to. I was
with me.
defending champ. I had to at least. I'm
I
not
got
like
hurt last
Elway.
year. I didn't even set my lineup.
Yeah, I'm not Elway. I don't go off in the sunset. And right now I'm 0-3. So
see, this is what you get. You should have gone out on the sunset, been with me.
yeah,
it's just so hard now. I saw. Did you see Jokic the other day had? I think it was like 28, 18, and 15, and lost. What more do you want the guy to do? Get 12 blocks? Sorry.
Gosh, you gotta play defense, I guess.
I guess so, man. Yeah. Got to bring back hand checking.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, we need hand checking back.
Yeah, I think it would make it better. The guys are just too athletic. They're just too good. But what up, Dub Squad? Welcome back. I actually like the way, Tubby, that you have called it Dub Squad. We should really get that on a shirt or something like that, or a hat.
Yeah.
Dub Squad. What's up, Tim? Welcome back, man. Thanks for coming.
Tim.
But yeah, welcome back, everyone. Jumping in with the W's podcast. We're live here on YouTube with some bonus content on the front end this week because there's not as much of it this week as much as we're going to talk about some of the college football as it's winding down into obviously the NFL, which is really just tipped over the halfway mark. Fully. So biggest news, Cardinals signed one of their former starters, which I was hoping to be Montgomery. No, it is Lance Lynn. Who cares? What a dumb decision. And I don't even know why I get worked up about this because Mosaic Locke said they're going to go after 2.5 starters. And, I should have known. I should have known better that here we are with a dumb signing of Lance Lynn. The dude's he's a poor man's Miles Michaelis. All right, I'm done.
Hopefully he's the half and not one of the fool.
At best, he's your 5th starter. Am I right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it depends. Honestly, really with the Dodgers, he had 3 bad starts. And one just happened to be the playoffs. And part of it, Roberts probably should have pulled him way sooner than he did. But yeah, the home runs are the biggest issue. I mean, in all those 3 games, he gave up, I think, 4 home runs in each game.
Yes.
So other than that, he was a good pitcher for the Dodgers for the most part, but 3 bad games he gave up.
Starting in the playoffs for you? No.
Well, he did for the Dodgers.
I know, but should he? No. Had they're starting the guys that'll be back next year, would he start? No. And why are you making a signing for $10 million of someone who's not even going to be there? So who's not going to make a start probably in there? It's super frustrating to me.
Yeah, because he's not a guy I would want to bring in out of the bullpen either, like in a playoff game, because you give up that many home runs. That's not what you want out of a guy coming out of the bullpen. Okay, maybe the guy give up a couple hits, but I don't want someone that's going to come in the game that gives up home runs. This is where he gets beat. That's not the guy I want bringing in out of the bullpen out of the playoffs.
A former Cardinal that had a really good record with the Cardinals. You know why? Because he was their 4th or 5th starter, and he always had incredible run support because he was the 4th or 5th starter facing the other teams most often than not, 4th or 5th starter, and our offense was just better. So he was constantly getting these wins. If you put him as your number 2, gosh, if they put him as their ace, I don't think they will. I think they're going to go after someone else. But if they put him as their number 2 or number 3, you're already playing from behind, and that makes me so mad. So Aaron Nola, though, looks like he's going to be a Philly for life.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like he had quite a few offers too.
Yeah, I know the Cardinals.
I know the Dodgers offered him like 107 or 165 million, I think, and I want to say the Braves offered him somewhat around that too, and he said, and it was for 6 years, not 7, so he left a decent amount on the table. But I mean, he's Philly. He doesn't have to leave, doesn't have to move, doesn't have to worry about all that stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, I think it was pivotal for them to re-sign him, to keep him and Wheeler as those 2 aces in that.
I don't know what it's going to look like pitchers can age differently than any other position, so he could be fine. But I think what you saw this year is more of what you'll see going forward, and that was pretty good. But I don't think you're going to see the peak that we've seen in the past. I think we've already seen that. So it's a good signing. I may have overpaid 7 years. He's 30 years old, 37. It's not terribly. It's not Adam Wainwright old.
No, I mean, the years, maybe a little bit, but you're paying the guy about $25 million. I think it's pretty solid for it. Yeah, a
After you,
1-2 pitcher, I
yeah,
think is pretty good.
after you saw what Scherzer and Verlander got last year on the open market, that is a steal of a deal. So
Yeah,
Shohei still hasn't signed. Yamamoto hasn't, or Yamamoto. Did I get that right?
yeah, yeah. He
Hasn't
just got posted
posted.
today.
So lots of little things. I would imagine no winter meetings be the same way this year, which I felt like they were trying to have them earlier than normal. I always thought they were in December, not in. I guess that was the GM meeting. It's a little different, but I don't know.
And say winter meetings usually what the first week or second week of December.
Yeah, but they had something where it got canceled because everyone got food poisoning at the buffet or whatever. So,
Yeah, I think that was just kind of like an owners meeting type thing.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
noted. Thank you. This is why I
but
listen to Tubby.
so with Nola out of the picture, who's the pitcher that you hoping, or at least one of the pitchers you're hoping the
I,
Cardinals go out and grab?
you know, I don't want Blake Snell because the dude's kind of a punk, but at least he strikes guys out, and I think that's important. Just won the Cy Young, which terrifies me going into a free agent season. Right now, it's just one of those guys like Yamamoto or something. It's one of those guys. Has to be it. Sonny Gray could be, but I don't think he's. I think he might lean towards staying in Minnesota. I'm not. I don't want Marcus Stroman. I don't see how he changes the narrative of what Cardinals have done. They need guys that just strike guys out, and they don't have that right now. They have them in the minors, a couple guys, but they need to move pieces. I think more than likely they might sign one free agent, and there's some connections with Lars Nootbaar and some of these other guys overseas, which has been helpful. Even Lars Nootbaar's mom being best friends with some of these guys' moms. I think that's funny. I don't know that actually makes a big deal, especially once you get in the major leagues. Like you can still be best friends and not be on the same team, or their moms can.
Yeah.
But I do think that that would be an interesting narrative if it plays out in favor of the Cardinals. Otherwise, they got to trade for someone. They got to package one of the 19 outfielders they have, or the 16 pitchers that all should be either bullpen arms or a number 5 or 6 starter. They just have they have such a logjam of that type of player. I mean, Brendan Donovan is expendable because you have Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman is expendable because you have Brendan Donovan, and you also still have what's his face, other second baseman, Nolan Gorman. I mean, you have these guys. You have left-handed power. You have second baseman. You have utility. They just got rid of Kisner, Yepes, which makes sense. Like without Pujols there, he's just not the same hitter. So I don't know. There's a lot of moves I think they're going to happen. The Cardinals are just. I don't want most of these guys.
I mean, one that I've seen floated around quite a bit to the Cardinals, and the biggest problem with him is going to be the injuries, is Tyler Glasnow.
I've heard that one too, because the Rays like to trade, and he's got a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think would be a good spot for him, but man, it's the injuries. If he can stay healthy, he is a front of the line ace starter because the guy can eat innings and he can strike people out. But it's the injury part that kind of gets you. But that aspect, they're going to eat that much money, and you're going to go with the guy that has some injury history. Maybe you don't have to trade as much for him as you would have maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially with the money. If the Rays are going to want you to take more money, they're going to be able to get rid of just lower-ended prospects, not the top guys, because of that fact. Unless that the Braves want to take on money, which I don't think that they do.
I don't know what the Braves are doing right now. It's kind of odd. Like, you just traded Jared Schuster, who's one of your top pitching prospects, Shoemaker, who's one of your top hitting prospects, and Michael Soroka, he hasn't quite bounced back from the 2 Achilles injuries, but you traded one of your top pitching prospect and one of your top hitting prospects for a relief pitcher who had a career 6 ERA.
I know. They must see. They have to. They clearly, I think they see something, but I don't know. That's just what they do. But I don't know. We're just counting on the days till Shohei signs with the Dodgers.
I hope that's the case. I really do. I hope that's how it ends up. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, the Cubs are going to throw everything at him. I just don't know if he wants to get to the Cubs. I don't know if he wants to be in a situation where can they really compete? Yeah, throw him on the team. You make the team better, but what do you have starting pitching wise on that team?
Steele, Hendricks.
Yeah,
that's what you got.
You lose Stroman. Yeah, I mean Steele pitched great. Hendrick, he's kind of been he kind of plateaued, and I think that decline's coming pretty hard in the next year or so. But other than that, I mean, you can't. What if you don't get Bellinger back? I mean, I think the Yankees are probably going to throw everything they have at Bellinger.
And there's not a whole lot of great bats.
Yeah, and so I don't see him going there. I think the Braves thing, that's all smoke. I really think that I think the Rangers may be the biggest threat to the Dodgers, which is crazy.
Yeah, he wants to win, but let's be
Yeah,
honest. Either of those teams you're going to win right now. Dodgers,
yeah,
Dodgers and Rangers, both of those teams are set to win over the next couple of years, and with the talent they have, it's pretty great.
yeah. No, I hope so. I hope Shohei ends up signing with the Dodgers like everyone thinks he will. But typically, a lot of time when you think that they're that big odds on favorite, a lot of time it doesn't pan out the way you think.
It just makes so
So
much sense, though.
yeah, to me, it's like
So
the
many parts.
perfect. Can you imagine that top of that lineup with
No,
Mookie, Freeman, Will Smith, then Shohei batting cleanup?
no.
Gosh.
Yeah, and here's the thing: next year he might get that triple crown. I did not realize he hit over 300 this last year, and if
Yeah.
he's only looking at hitting, oh man, it might be just close the door. He's already got it. Like,
Yeah. I saw a couple of GMs are worried that he will never pitch again, and that some of these guys are trying to push him to play an outfield again, like he did when he first came in the majors, and transition to just completely hitting and playing outfield. Which I don't know. At that point, I just want the guy to swing the bat. I don't care if he's playing anything else because he's that good of a hitter that you can still give him a massive contract and it's not going to be like, oh, well, he may never pitch again. Okay, cool. He's still one of the best hitters in
100%.
baseball.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I want to know. Last week, we didn't get to hit record on the podcast, but you did get to go to Norman. Absolute blowout of a game. They dominated West Virginia, which was nice. Saw Dylan Gabriel and maybe his last home game where he actually played. More on that later. What did you think of that atmosphere, that experience for that? Because I've not been to a Sooner night game.
So I had been to a night game before that. I had went to OU Texas Tech game, Baker Mayfield's senior year, senior night. It was awesome, great experience. But what they have done since then, the atmosphere, the light show, everything is a million times better than it was. It was the best like in-person sports experience I've ever had. It was incredible. The atmosphere, like I said, these new things they're doing with the lights are pretty cool. It can be a bad thing at times because we saw the fight in the end zone when the lights went out after you scored the touchdown. You don't really.
They flipped him on real quick once they realized.
Yeah, and like the wild thing out of the whole situation was you had guys throwing punches. You had a guy get hit in the head, in the end zone on the catch, and there was no flags whatsoever.
I know. I didn't think that was absolutely crazy.
But yeah, Norman games though, you get there early in the morning. We got to go to the Walk of the Champions. We were literally like one person away from Brent Venables.
Dude, that was
Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, we had the whole team walks down the street going into the stadium before the game. It was a good time. We enjoyed it. Yeah, night game. I can't wait until the SEC when Alabama, Tennessee, those games. If those are night games, it's going to be even more amped up the atmosphere. So yeah, you get a chance. Night games in Norman are the way to go.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll have to keep an eye out for it. I almost went to the Mizzou game this last weekend, but I had a meeting. But someone's like, "Hey, we got extra tickets, Florida Mizzou," and I was like, "Ooh, that would have been great." But it was an evening game. But yeah, that's right, Ricky in the chat, Boomer. That's right, Boomer Sooner. Let's go. That was a big win. So yeah, here we are. You feeling like you're ready to start? Feeling ready.
Yep, we're ready.
Jump into it. All right, gonna clear the throat. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back, everyone, to the W Sports Podcast. Welcome back, Dub Squad. Jimothy, alongside me, as always, is the one and only Tubby, and we are back.
What is up?
Yeah, we missed y'all. I know we were out last week due to a lot of scheduling things this last week, but we're back this week, and we're going to get caught up on all things NFL, as well as, obviously, the college football season as it winds to a close. But quick note, if you didn't know this already, we've already been going for about 15 minutes, and over on YouTube, we got some bonus content. If you're interested in anything about the college football experience, attending a night game versus a day game, or even some baseball news, we got that over on YouTube. So make sure you head over to YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Continue to subscribe to the show. Wherever you download the podcast, we greatly appreciate it. But let us get into it. College football. How many upsets did you see this last weekend, Tubby? Did you check?
how many upsets?
Yeah.
What
That's
do you
what's
mean?
crazy.
Like,
Yeah, like
I
a
know
higher
there's a
ranked team
couple.
lost to the lower ranked team.
Well, I know Auburn got humiliated by New Mexico State.
So that one, yes, technically would be one. They paid $1.8 million for that butt whooping too.
Yeah, I mean,
And shout out to New Mexico State, 9-3.
Yeah,
Dude.
they were one of the worst teams in college football last year. So
Yeah,
hey, you
and I
made a
think
turnaround.
New Mexico, I think, has like 8 or 9 wins too. Like just New Mexico.
New Mexico, they have more wins than USC. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I'm just saying. No, it's UNLV. My bad. Sorry.
UNLV.
Same
Hey,
thing, right? Copy
that's
paste. Same thing.
UNLV is pretty
Dude,
bad last few years too.
I know.
So
It's absolutely wild. So Clemson beat North Carolina. That's
yeah,
technically the only official top 25 upset.
I'm gonna say I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. I know that, what you had a couple top 25 teams play each other, and I think Kansas State was ranked higher than Kansas at that point, so it really wasn't an upset. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That
I,
was it.
I was hoping there was a couple other ones in there, but they
Yeah.
didn't work out the way we wanted to. So
Yeah, and I would assume let's start right there with Michigan. Michigan nearly blew it against Maryland. Tulia Tagovailoa threw a lot of picks. Was it two? Yeah, it was just 2 interceptions, some costly ones though that ultimately led to them not making it. Michigan outscored Maryland in the fourth quarter 2-0. Did you have that on the scorecard? 2-0. Ultimately to win 31-24. Any weaknesses here you're seeing in Michigan headed into the big weekend here against Ohio State?
I think this is kind of one of those we looked ahead type thing. You got the big game, in the big house, or in the shoe this year. You had a big, I think they looked at Maryland and were like, yeah, they're a decent opponent, but we should run through them. And maybe there is a few hiccups within that locker room, even though Harbaugh wants to say, "Oh, we're one team right now." Maybe there's a few, other things because we've had more stuff pop up in the last couple of weeks. You had a linebacker coach get fired, the day before the game because he supposedly tried to delete computer files and stuff of them cheating. And McCarthy, I think you've seen a few little hiccups with McCarthy towards the end of the season, kind of like we did last year, where he started out real solid, and then kind of hiccup at the back of the end, even though they still made the playoffs. Hopefully for them, I mean, I shouldn't say hopefully. I don't really care who wins this game because I think Michigan's a bunch of cheaters, and I hope they kind of lose. Even though I think they are the best team in college football, how much of it could be due to cheating? I don't know. We'll see. But I I hope it's a good game. Hopefully it's not like we've got the last couple of years where it's just absolute blowouts. I want to see some good football. I want to see both these teams play good, but I really think that Ohio State's just a bunch of pretenders, honestly.
A bunch of pretenders is what you said?
Yeah, I don't think they're contenders. I think they are fake. I think Kyle McCord isn't that good. I think Marvin Harrison's great. Defense has played a lot better this year. I will give him that. Defense has played a lot better this year than it has over the last couple of years, and they have fixed the one issue.
What's the one?
They are much better against the run than they have been the last 2 years.
I hear you. Let me check their last 5 teams they played.
Oh, I know.
Dude. They have Penn State, who's nowhere near as good as everybody thought they were. Please, they can't throw the ball to say they're so one-dimensional. Wisconsin, really bad year for Wisconsin. Rutgers, I know they're going to be bowl eligible, but come on, it's Rutgers still. Michigan State, who's one of the just most disorganized teams right now, programs in the country, and then Minnesota. This is a bad year for Minnesota. Those last 5 teams, that I know the defense looks better. They ain't played nobody. Okay, that's my big. And Michigan's similar. I mean, they played Maryland, who at least has a decent quarterback overall. Penn State, again, we saw what that was. Purdue, Michigan State, Indiana. I mean, the Big Ten is so top heavy. It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I think the one big thing though is that you can kind of look at maybe the Notre Dame game for Ohio State, where Audric Estime going into that game was just on a tear, and they shut him down pretty good. So I think that kind of points a little bit to they are able to slow down the run more than they have been last year, and we know that's Michigan's MO is Corum and Edwards. That two-headed tandem is absolutely lethal because they just complement each other so well, and in any given day, both of them could go for over 100 yards. So that's been their biggest problem. I mean, last year we saw Blake Corum out for the big game, and we're like, oh, maybe there's a chance that Ohio State can win this. No, Donovan Edwards goes out there and just absolutely torches that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopefully it's a much better game than the last couple of years, and we'll at least get an exciting game. But I feel like Kyle McCord is going to be looking like a chicken with his head cut off trying to run around because that offensive line isn't any good.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Running the ball is going to be key for Michigan, as always. It always is, and I think they do have the better quarterback. And to answer your question, Tim, in the chat, it is in Michigan, so it's going to be 37. It looks like it's just going to be a normal, cold day, but no precipitation or anything like that. But that to me just sounds like it's a game Michigan's ready for, and I would definitely lean towards them. All distractions aside, though. I mean, that's the biggest thing is how big will the distractions be headed into this game? And there's no Harbaugh. I mean, this is one of those 3 games, isn't it? Correct?
Yeah. Which the whole suspension thing, I agree he probably should have been suspended. But the fact is that you go, well, he's suspended, but he can coach him during the week, but he can't coach him at the game.
Yeah.
I feel it's kind of weird. Yeah, how does that work? I mean, I feel like if you're going to be suspended, you shouldn't be able to be around the team. And because at least now he's able to prepare them. Yeah, he's not able to make the in-game adjustments as the head coach, but at least you're able to prepare them throughout the week.
Yeah,
I feel like it would have been a lot different if it was Sharon Moore, who I think will get a head coaching job. He's the intern coach right now. I feel like he will get a head coaching job somewhere this offseason. But I feel like it's weird that you're going to say, well, you're suspended for the 3 games, just the games themselves. You can still coach during the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It is a weird suspension, but all right. So I want to, if you're okay with, we can go ahead and make the prediction for this game. So I don't forget to come back to it later. Who do you got in this game on Saturday?
I got Michigan. I just feel like Corum, Edwards are, that defense for Ohio State has gotten better. I still feel like that tandem is just, it's hard to stop, and let alone just slow down, just hard to stop. I feel like they're going to be too much. And like I said, I think McCarthy is the way better quarterback right now than Corum. I think Michigan should probably run away with this one, but I'm hoping we get at least somewhat of a competitive game.
Yeah, I think it'll be competitive, at least for the most part. There might be a 2-score game, thinking 9-point game overall difference. Or if there's a score at the last point, it's like, oh, that's just garbage points. It doesn't really matter. I do think Michigan wins this game, especially because they're at home and they've won the last 2, correct? I mean, the tide has turned a little bit towards Michigan and in favor of their style of football. And I think that's going to play a big, big part of it. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, here's what's wild. This is the last year of it, but I mean, you would think, they win back-to-back because they don't play each other.
No.
And looking at what the Big 12 is trying to figure out and the Pac-12 is trying to figure out how to do conference championship games going forward, I think they're going to need to go back to divisions. This is so frustrating. It's so dumb.
I was totally against the divisions thing until what's going on with the Big 12 right now, because the Big 12 has tried to clarify multiple times and no one still understands the tie-breaking rules.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. This is my point. And if you want to play in the championship game, just win your division. That's it. Because now you're going to constantly, these 16 teams, there's zero chance that you can play all those games, all those teams. And you also can't have enough common opponents. And then you're going to have all these weird tie-breaking rules. I don't like it. I think it's going to be really complicated. People are going to be really frustrated. And it's not going to take long before someone is super, super upset that because they don't get to play in the game, they don't have a shot at maybe, they're just outside the top 12 and they need that last game to get in. And now they're not going to because of a tie-breaking rule. I think that's going to happen at some point. But we also got Michigan in the chat. So it's a clean sweep. Michigan's going to win this game moving forward. Okay, go ahead and put them in the playoff. Other team, playoff, not really on the horizon anymore, correct? I mean, the CFP committee is going to have to take in consideration. Travis has officially played his last game with Florida State, but he's not done playing football, is what he said. But they dominate North Alabama, of course, but they lost their best player.
Yeah, that's very tough. And my thing is, what happens? I was gonna wait till we got towards the end of the college football thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out here for you now. It's kind of a what if scenario. What happens, in the next couple of weeks? So we got undefeated Big Ten champion. Who gets into the college football playoffs? Big Ten undefeated champion, either Ohio State, Michigan, automatically in.
Yep.
So now you got 3 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Say Florida State wins the ACC championship, but is without Jordan Travis. Say Alabama wins the SEC championship, so you got a 1-loss SEC Alabama. Oregon wins the Pac-12. You got a 1-loss Oregon, and then Texas wins out, and you have a 1-loss Big 12 champion Oregon. Texas. Who are the other 3 teams outside of the undefeated?
I want you to tell me that I'm wrong, and here's what I'm going to say: it's Georgia, Alabama, it would be Michigan, and then it would be Oregon. That's the 4 best teams.
And see, that's what I think. I think, but my problem is, I feel like I don't know if they can keep Florida State out, even if they do win out without Jordan Travis, because we have already seen the precedents before that they have allowed a team in with their starting quarterback out, and Cardale Jones, all he did was win the national championship.
Very true. But they've also said they take into consideration major injuries. And so I think what you're going to see this week is them drop to 5 or 6 because of it, despite the loss. And then that's going to be the telltale. If they stay at 4, okay, well then you're right. They have every avenue back in. But if they don't, I think that's when you're done. And they still got to beat Louisville. I mean, they still got to beat Louisville and Florida. So it's not like a cakewalk, and it's at Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I feel like, though, if they do win out, beat Florida, they beat Louisville, I feel like it is super hard for you to keep them out because they are undefeated. They won every game they played. Granted, Jordan Travis, and also, if that kid comes out and just balls out, I feel like we've seen it happen. And yeah, they say they will take major injuries into consideration. Well, they didn't a few years ago. They allowed Ohio State in when they could have allowed other teams in. And they didn't, because I surely thought that year that it was like, okay, there's no way Ohio State's getting in because starting quarterback is out. And they said that's one of the big things they'll look at is, key injuries and players. And so I thought the same thing too. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I feel like it's hard for them to. And I feel like Georgia absolutely should be in if that's the case, just because I feel like they are better than Florida State. But I just think that it's going to be hard for them to keep Florida State out because of you won every game. You beat every team you played. Even if the ACC isn't the best conference, you still going to have 3 or 4 ranked wins on your schedule compared to a couple of these other teams. And so it may be hard for them to, but if they did, I wouldn't be mad. I know Florida State fans would be seriously, upset about this, but yeah. And then the fact that some people think that Texas, all they got to do is win out and they're in, is absolutely ridiculous. I feel like if that scenario plays out and you have 2 spots, just say they do lock Florida State in.
Yeah.
And you got the 2 spots. I still feel like it should be Alabama and it should be Oregon. Right. I don't think what Texas has done over the last month is worthy being in the college football playoffs. They're lucky they haven't lost a couple of those games.
Yeah, 100%. They've almost lost to Wyoming. It's countless games that they have not put away. And I agree. I think Texas you could say they're a top 10 team, but they are not on the top 5 side. And I don't see a path for them in unless some teams really start to lose.
And they're like the big head-to-head matchup. Well, they beat Alabama. This is a different Alabama team, man. Yeah, this is completely different Alabama team than what week 2, week 3, whatever week they play them early on. This is a completely different team. And I would put money on it. Even in Austin, I think this Alabama team beats Texas by 20 points. I think they absolutely blow them out because the way this team is playing, even with the offensive line playing mediocre, the defense has stepped up and the defense is way better than it was. And Jaden Milroe has taken a step forward and has proven that he can win games when he needs to with those legs and that strong arm.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to end up playing out, but I think the biggest part is if Florida State QB comes in and he gets them, he goes all out and they win, they dominate these next 2 games. I think you say, all right, now they have every reason to be in there, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle, especially at Florida on this rivalry weekend coming up, and then to play in a championship game against a really good, I don't know that they're great, Louisville team that's got a lot of momentum going right now. We got their work cut out for them to get in, but they've at least set themselves up to do it. whereas I think
Yeah.
Texas has set themselves up to just miss it.
Yeah, I agree.
Real quick in the chat, we had Tim asked, "What are the chances OU plays OSU in the Big 12 championship game?" I think the only way to do that is if Texas loses.
No, that's not even a case. I think the only way is if Texas and Kansas State both lose, and there's still
State beat Oklahoma State. I don't know.
no.
Dude, I'm not
It's
going to decode it.
it's the way that they have talked about these tiebreakers, and honestly, I don't know if that even happens. I want to. Yeah, no, I think that is the only way. Yeah, no, it has gotten really confusing. Like how do you go from 1 week where all say just in Oklahoma's purpose of getting to the Big 12 championship, all you need is either Oklahoma State or Texas to lose, and now it's a week later, both those teams win, and now it's a week later, and it's like, well, Texas just can't lose. They need Oklahoma State or Kansas State to lose also.
Yeah.
Along with Texas, not or it's and.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How would a Texas team has same record in the Big 12 as Oklahoma if they lose to Texas Tech and Oklahoma wins? How do they get in Oklahoma when Oklahoma has the head-to-head advantage?
This is why divisions make sense.
And it all comes down to which team beat Kansas. Because if Kansas State wins, they will all have the same opponent because of Kansas. Oklahoma lost to Kansas, and Kansas State would have a better shot, and Texas would still be in.
Yeah,
because
I think
because
finding the one common
Texas beat Kansas State.
The way to do it.
But the thing is
season injuries happen. I mean, Bean didn't even play this weekend, and you're telling me that Kansas team should be the same Kansas team that is judged.
And they almost won.
Daniels played with them early in the season. It shouldn't even count as the same one as if Bean played with them.
Yeah, and that's why it doesn't make sense. Is because they had to clarify the rules because of Kansas State and or Oklahoma State beat Kansas State and Oklahoma, but since Oklahoma and Kansas State didn't play, they didn't have a common opponent technically because but yeah, Oklahoma State would be in because they won the head-to-head. But yet that's not the same case for Oklahoma if Texas loses because Texas played Kansas State and Oklahoma. They went 1-1. Oklahoma beat them. So it makes no sense. I don't get how they are figuring this out. How from 1 week just because Kansas State beat Kansas and Iowa State drops a little bit further down the Big 12 board, that all this stuff, it makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand how they're figuring this out, and that's what it seems like all the college football people are like, can you clarify more to what is actually we're talking about, because we still don't understand it, because they put out a post today to try to clarify it again, and it made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I want them to be like, no, we cannot. It doesn't make sense. Sorry, we should have had divisions.
Yeah. So I think to answer the question, from what I got from this, I think it has to be Texas and Kansas State both lose, and Oklahoma and Oklahoma State both win.
Yeah,
is the only way that they can play each other in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's true, don't quote me on it, because I don't know the rules either, because obviously the Big 12 doesn't understand them. I think they're just making them up as they go at this point.
Yeah. Let me see here. Where is this at? Who has scored? I'm just looking at all the standings here. Who scored the most points so far this season?
In the Big 12?
No, overall.
Overall. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Find it. This is not. I was trying to find it. ESPN doesn't give me a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oklahoma has 449, I believe. Where did it go? 449, which I think USC would be the one that they've already finished their season, which we're going to get to.
There's a website where you can go and you can see like top ranked scoring offenses.
Yeah. Oregon, 512 points.
So that's who I was thinking.
Yeah, they're number one. Georgia's second, outside of USC, who's already played the extra game.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Georgia put up some points the last
so Tim put in the chat. He said no two teams shouldn't make it in a 14 playoff. But if the goal is to get the best 4 teams, I think right now there is a chance. I don't think you can get both Washington and Oregon in. I don't see that happening. But this is the one team, like right now, nobody was going to want to play Georgia and nobody's going to want to play Alabama. And Alabama looks like, unless they get rocked in the SEC championship game or somehow fumble against Auburn, which no one would see coming, then they'll have a legit chance to make it. And I could see them being a rematch in the national championship. Easy. If they both not like 1-4. I think it'd be like 1-3 or something like that.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, I agree. I think that those four are the best teams right now. If everything plays out the way I think it would, if those happen, I think Oregon is better than Washington. I think Lanning kind of let him down. Hopefully he doesn't make those same mistakes in the Pac-12 championship game. But I think Oregon is better than Washington. I don't think Washington has played good since that game. They're lucky they haven't lost 1 or 2 games since. And Oregon has just went out there and they haven't played quite the same opponents, but they have went out there and they have just slapped every team around since they played Washington.
Yeah, Bo Nix, I think, broke the record in the Pac-12 for passing touchdowns in a game, and he did in the first half. So
first half had 6 touchdowns in the first half.
Didn't Arizona? Yeah, I'm not going to get off a side tangent on this one, but so let's hit Louisville. They have clinched a spot. Do they have a realistic chance of winning the ACC?
They do now.
Top 10 team. They win the ACC undefeated. Do they get in? Or not undefeated? They have 1 loss. I'm sorry.
No, they have no shot.
I agree. Yeah, there's no path. Even they beat Miami, and they had Tyler Van Dyke playing because their quarterback just got hurt the last week. So Miami wasn't the team.
Their only shot would be is if they win out and say Georgia loses this week, Alabama loses this week, one of them lose in the SEC championship game, and then FSU loses. They'll be FSU. Texas loses a couple games. Washington and Oregon maybe both of them lose a game before the Pac-12 championship. That's about the only.
So you're
odds.
saying there's a chance?
There is an outside chance, but for all that to work out, they would need the biggest miracle ever.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. So, but hey, it's a very good season for them bouncing back and having some success. We mentioned Washington a little bit. I mean, this struggle bus is real. This offense, as good as they are, the best quarterback in this game, well, passing yards wise, was DJ
Uyongo.
Thank you.
Uyongo.
2 picks, no touchdowns. So Michael Penix has really started to. I don't know if people have just changed the defensive scheme on him, but no rhythm in this game. He did have 2 touchdowns, but 13-28, and it does feel like he's been a little bit out of sync with the team, despite having some really great receivers out there. And it sounds like you do believe that they're not going to win. And they're playing Washington State, who they should beat this week before heading to the Pac-12 championship game. But you think it's writings on the wall?
Yeah, I think the way that these 2 teams are playing right now, I think Oregon wins the Pac-12 championship game. They're just firing on all cylinders right now. Bo Nix is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in college football. The defense has played better since that game. I think that's the biggest issue. It seems like that offense for Washington, which was so high-powered to begin the season, and yes, they've had some good games, but one of them was against USC, which USC has like a bottom, 3rd worst defense in college football. But you look at the Stanford game; they're lucky they got out, Palo Alto with the win there. You look at the Arizona State game; that was just absolutely awful, and they're lucky they won that game. They're lucky they beat Oregon State. They have gotten some really close games, and I feel like they play the way they have. Oregon should win that Pac-12 championship, and maybe win it in convincing fashion the way Washington's playing right now.
Yeah, no, I'm here right there with you. So, with that Oregon State and Oregon play this weekend, it's in Oregon. How realistic of a chance do you think Oregon State has to make the upset in this game?
I mean, it is a rivalry game, which, hey, sometimes it's just throw the records out the book and see what happens. But the way, like I said, the way Bo Nix has played right now, I think there's only one quarterback who's played better than him. So, recently, and that's Jaden Daniels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no one's been better than that guy.
Yeah. And that's saying a lot because what Bo Nix has done has been incredible. He hasn't had a bad game this year. He has 2 interceptions all season.
He doesn't have as many rushing touchdowns or attempts this year, but he has been so good. It's been crazy.
Yeah. That offense, him, Bucky Irving, what they've done, Troy Franklin, Gary Bryant Jr. The offense is explosive, and like I said, the defense seems like it has turned the page since that Washington game, and they've played even better than they did at the beginning of the season. And that's the case. That may not be a team you want to see in the playoffs the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, it's going to be. Who did they play this weekend?
Who?
LSU. Who did they play on this last week?
Oh, I have no clue.
I have no clue. I should have already had that looked up. I was just trying to think of
I didn't even,
when it compares, like how he's going to finish the season strong for the Heisman. This was my brain. Oh, Texas A&M. That's a W.
Oh, should be.
What a segue. Okay, so this brings me to that little meme I saw earlier. You may have seen it. I lost it, so the page refreshed on me. It said, okay, so after they beat Abilene this weekend, which is in Abilene, Texas, so that's where this comes from. So Texas A&M is like 12-0 or 17-0 in the last, odd number of years against in-state schools. We dominate, yeah. And then someone else said, this is the most blind tweet I've seen. They're 0-0 against Power 5 Texas in-state schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good job against Abilene. You thought that was worthy. We beat Rice, man. Every single time, Rice, we got him UTSA,
yeah.
We got him, man. El Paso, UTEP, that's us all day. Yeah. All day, everybody.
I saw that. I was like, yeah, you haven't played Tech. You haven't even played Tech. I mean, or Houston.
Yeah.
Or, any of these halfway decent teams in Texas.
I don't know. Probably didn't even play SMU, who has 9 wins, I believe, right now. Look at
them. I'm like, yeah. I can't remember, what does it say, since 2012 or something like that? They're like 17-0 versus teams in Texas. I'm like, congratulations, you beat up on the Texas State Bobcats.
Yeah.
Sam Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. I
mean, come on.
Great. Texas State. Well, that was what I want to do. So Jimbo Fisher finally gone, massive payday. So I mean, life is good for him, but it seems like they definitely got the bad end of that deal of stealing him from Florida State, and Florida State was like, thanks, that was easy. Right. Moving on, and they're in a much better position now. So you look at this team, Texas A&M. Here's my question: do they go after Coach Prime?
I don't think that he would leave, honestly. He kind of sounded like he was like a reporter brought it up to him. He's like, I moved my mom here, I moved my kids here, my daughter's here, this, that. He said, why would I leave?
Yeah.
And also, he can't take Shedeur with him because Shedor's already transferred once and he's not a graduate transfer, so he can't leave and play immediately. But yeah, no, I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that's who they go after. They've already interviewed the UTSA coach. He him hopped around like, oh, well, I can't believe you're asking me this right now after this game. After these seniors just won this game. I'm like, dude, you interviewed for the job a couple days before you play it on Saturday. You know people are going to ask you about it.
Yeah.
No one's taken away from you. If anything, you took away from these kids by going and interviewing before your season's over. But I don't know. I have this weird feeling, and I know like it's kind of like the opposite attract type thing because Texas A&M is so big in the NIL. That's how they've got all these kids. But there's something about it, and there's the way he answered the question. I feel like Dabo Swinney,
I've heard that,
leaving Clemson to go to Texas A&M. Like they asked him afterwards, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just whenever it happened, and there was kind of murmurs about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm just worried about this game." And he didn't deny it, didn't shoot it down or anything. And it's just kind of the way he tiptoed around it. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something I could just absolutely be wrong, but I feel like Dabo Swinney, because they're going to go swinging big. They're going to go after someone. They've got the money. Because why do you fire the guy? I'm not saying why do you fire the guy. They should have fired the guy, but why do you fire him without negotiating a buyout? You're just willing to give him all $76 million without a fight. You had to have an idea of someone that you're going to be able to get, and you had to be pretty confident about it. I know Dan Lanning's been thrown out. Dan Lanning pretty much said, yeah, I'm good. I'll pass.
No, I would too if I was saying, why would you leave that program for A&M? There's no way.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's something, for some reason, I feel like, yeah, Dabo Swinney leaves Clemson, I think he ends up at A&M because the crazy part about it would be it'd be almost in the same sort of way that they got Jimbo Fisher, where they win the national championship. He's a big, high offensive, minded coach. Win the national championship, and then just kind of start downtrending, and you're like, well, maybe he's kind of lost it. Offense isn't as explosive as it's been. They snag him, and then it's basically just the cycle all over again, where you got a really good, offensive mind 10 years ago, but hasn't evolved with the times, and you're going to pay him a whole lot of money. He'll win maybe a couple big games. You'll give him a big contract extension, and about 10 years will be gone. Well, he needs to be fired, and you end up firing him and paying him $70-some million to walk away.
Yeah. Well, and right now we're looking at Clemson, who very realistically, they were 4-4. Remember that? And now it looks like they should be 8-4 after this week. I mean, they should go into South Carolina and be able to win that game. But South Carolina needs that win to get. I think they need that win to get bowl eligible. I don't think.
But 8-4 kind of sounds familiar. What was
Jimbo's that's what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
7-5, 7-5, 7-5. Oh, we got an 8-win game season. 7-5, 7-5. It just kind of seems like would be the most like Texas A&M thing. Like Dabo hasn't evolved with the game. The game's starting to pass him by, and it was the same thing with Jimbo Fisher, where he had that one really good year, and there was murmurs that maybe they could end up looking somewhere else at Florida State, and then Texas A&M swoops in with that checkbook, and they're like, "Here you go. You sign your name, fill out whatever you want, and we'll take it." Kind of seems like the same situation here. And like I said, I have no intel. I have no source, whatever. This is just me. This is what I feel like something that might happen. Or then they can go completely opposite and go like Mike Elko, still from Duke, was former defense coordinator at Texas A&M. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know. They will not go with the small. I mean, the UTSA guy maybe, but like I feel like that's not the win.
It's not big enough
for after paying so much money for Jimbo to get out. So we'll see. I think Dabo's a realistic one. Looking forward to this real quick on the weekend. So more disappointing season. This will be my next transition here for us. Tennessee, who we had high hopes for coming into the year, 7-4 playing Vandy. They're going to be 8-4 after this game. This next, I think they're 7-4, right? 4 losses.
I think so.
Oh, and a quick error I had. South Carolina is not going to be bowl eligible. They will be an at-large, if anything, because they have 5. If they win this game, it'll be their 5th Division I win. So, Tennessee, 4 losses on the year. More disappointing than USC. Who is the more disappointing season?
USC 100%, and it's not even close because you had Caleb Williams on that team, and there was national championship aspirations for this team, even though most of logical people knew that wouldn't happen because of the defense and Alex Grinch and all that stuff. But I think 100% it was USC for, I should say, the national. I think the national media would probably say, would agree with that. Maybe some other people that think otherwise know that USC wasn't going to be as good as everyone thought. Yeah, we had an idea. You all just didn't listen.
You said I'm sure if we roll back the tape, you probably said 4 losses this year, and they had 5.
I had 4 losses. They lost one that I guess I don't know which one it was, but they lost one somewhere in there. I wasn't expecting them to lose, but they lost. But
and I think it was like they could lose all 5 of these, but
I think they'll
win 1.
I think it was we both kind of agreed that they would probably beat UCLA because we thought UCLA would have a down year, which they kind of did compared to last year.
Yeah.
But they were still way better than USC was this year, even though you had
1-5 in their last 6 games this year. Their only win was a 1-point win against Cal.
Gosh.
Their other win was against Arizona, 2-point win, which Arizona won again. Just saying. Dude, I'm going to get an Arizona jersey. I am. I'm telling you. They beat Colorado, who's gone downhill with a lot of listen, this is going to take longer than 1 year to turn around.
I don't know. I feel like I can almost say I told you so, but
you can't say I told you so. I said he's building something.
I mean, when you got your own players coming out and saying that we're such a selfish team, we don't care about the team, we care about ourselves, they care about themselves and stuff like that. I think it kind of speaks to what you have built there already.
Let's not forget this.
I'm just saying.
One game last year was outscored by like 20 points a game. I know
And
we
they've
all
lost 7 games and they've been outscored by like 20 points in every single one of those games.
It hasn't been great. They're 1-7 in the conference. Definitely not great.
I
But
mean,
I do think they're headed to a winnable conference as well.
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they could have beat Arizona.
They could have. They could have. That's the key word. Could have.
Within one possession of Oregon State, just like Washington was. They played UCLA better than USC did, so we're looking for moral wins here.
What happened this week against Washington State? Didn't they just get absolutely shellacked?
Absolutely, yeah. And then I don't know if Sanders is going to play this last week, so it does not look like the
probably not
nearly as well as it did as it started. But maybe that was the problem. Maybe if they wouldn't have beat Colorado State, oh god. But like this team just went in a different direction. And here, all this said, remember how it was after they beat Nebraska. Do you know what Nebraska's record is right now?
Hey, Nebraska's Matt Rule.
He's turning around.
Maybe, yeah, may not have taken the 2 years like we expected. You know,
they're 5-6, and outside of the Colorado game, they have given up like 170 points. Outside of that game, 100 like this, he's doing something, man.
Well, we knew the defense was good. We saw the defense was good in that game, and if they had a halfway competent quarterback at that time, they beat Colorado.
They're still playing Sims though, dude.
What?
They went back to Sims.
Yeah, I think it's because Chuba Purdy got hurt and the other guy got hurt too.
Harburg?
Yeah, Hairberg, whatever it was. Yeah. Yeah.
And he was left and right too, so it wasn't much better, but at least he was getting the ball in the end zone where Jeff Sims had 1 touchdown in 6 picks.
It's at least Hairberg can throw the football. Sims, we know he absolutely can't.
Yeah.
And listen, if they had a halfway competent quarterback in that game, Colorado doesn't win that game. That defense shut them down, and the only reason why they got back in that game was because Sims threw it right to the defender like 2 or 3 times in a row, and pretty much. But I don't know. I'm just saying, when you got your own players calling out the team like that, saying, you know, we're such a selfish team. We only care. Guys only care about themselves. They don't care about the team, and that's one thing that Dion said at the beginning of the year when he was like, they can, they don't have to like each other. They don't even have to get along, blah, blah, blah. As long as they win. I don't know. That to me just seems like, it is the first season. Things could get better for them. But I feel like they had all that momentum. And it's like they're up 29 against Stanford. And you got guys tweeting at halftime their merchandise and all that stuff. And then came out and got beat in the second half to Stanford. That was the downfall of the season.
Yeah. Now their offense is good enough to where next year that as bad as if they can make some, it's just the simple OU adage, right? The offense is good enough. So next year, if you make some tweaks on defense, you can at least be competitive, right?
They will have to figure out that offensive line to have any chance whatsoever. Even because more than likely Travis Hunter could be heading to the NFL. So you do lose Travis Hunter and on the defense and offensive side.
Yeah. So USC season is over, 7-5. They're going to get a bowl game. The narrative is that Lincoln Riley might be interested in the NFL. I don't know if you've seen any links yet.
Yeah.
The Raiders, man. Who's that guy from USC that also went to the NFL? That was terrible. With Cliff Kingsbury. There we go. Who would be a worse NFL head coach, Cliff Kingsbury or Lincoln Riley?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Why would you why would you steal this guy? Go give me Jim Harbaugh if you want me to get a college coach.
And at this point, I don't know if the Raiders should look outside of Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce. And this is what I said the same thing to my dad because I saw the rumors about Lincoln Riley to Las Vegas, and I'm like, they had the guy a couple years ago. The whole Gruden thing played out the way it did. They had to fire Gruden. Rich Bisaccia comes in, and they almost win out, get into the playoffs, almost win a playoff game. They don't, bring back Bisaccia. They hire Josh McDaniels, and we see where that led them. They're playing really good under Antonio Pierce. They're playing inspired football. Even though they lost this week, they are playing good football. They have played some bad teams, but you're playing a rookie quarterback. Aiden O'Connell's played pretty decent for the
Mhm.
most part. It would be them getting rid of Antonio Pierce, hiring Lincoln Riley, and then being the same boat they're in a couple of years and having to fire Lincoln Riley because he's just not an NFL coach. That you just went through. I would have
Yeah.
said that in like the last 17 years, they've had 12 coaches.
I think that's so bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're off to to me, it just sounds like a terrible hire. It's how do you think it's going to be any different?
Yeah.
I think it would be a mess. Well, let's go ahead and round out some of the other things. Mizzou wins another one against the Gators with who? How'd they win this one?
The thicker kicker.
Dude, it's the best nickname in all of college football right now. I'm just saying, the thicker kicker,
Yeah.
better than Dicker the kicker. This is just the better one.
The thicker kicker. Yeah.
So good.
Florida did what Florida did. Hey, shout out to Max Brown, freshman quarterback from Lincoln Christian here in Tulsa. Came in after Graham Mertz gets hurt, brought this team back, had them on the brink of winning, and your defense fails because they left a top 3 wide receiver in college football wide open in the middle of the field on 4th and 17.
Our bad. Well, on 4th and 17, what were you expecting?
Yeah, 4th and 17. We'll let Luther Burden just stand wide open at midfield. We don't need to cover that guy.
Yeah. I think the Mizzou fan base, that stadium is a deceptively good one.
Dude,
in the
it
SEC.
is.
I think people definitely underestimate it. You got the hill, everything. So I think I heard that they're going to add some seats as well over the next couple of years.
I say next year, me, you, Stephanie, we go Columbia, watch OU, Missouri.
Get a whole crew, man.
Dude.
We better. I'm wondering what it will be like. Like going into KU, lots of OU fans. Like I feel like you can dominate that, but I think going to Mizzou, I think the fandom will be different. I think a state school like Mizzou or a K-State, it's just a different atmosphere than a KU, right? Fans are a little bit more intense.
Yeah, no, Columbia is a tough place to play.
It's going to be a tough one. But it's only like an hour and 45 minutes away from us, so I am game. Hopefully it's a morning game just because I feel like I like that. A little easier drive, but I'm game. So while we're on it, let's go ahead. We got to bring it up. Oklahoma, they do beat BYU. Dylan Gabriel, it's his second concussion. So I honestly, I don't think he's playing this weekend. I think there's zero chance that he plays. Maybe 1% if anything, but it's 6 days to get rid of another concussion, and it was a big hit on the ground. So
see, I don't know if it's ever been officially announced that it was a concussion. They said that it was an upper body injury. And Venables did say today it's trending right that Gabriel and Farouk will play Friday. So take that what it would be. College football, they don't have to put out the injury report like they do in the NFL. He could just be playing mind games with TCU. But yeah, the defense, they just got absolutely I don't want to make excuses for him, but we saw the field conditions. We saw what happened.
Tackles, stuff like that. Like people complain. I'm like, you try tackling on that and breaking down.
And, well, I mean, look, they showed the plays the week before against Iowa State where they're barely pushing the defense lineman and they're sliding back 5-10 yards because you can't get any traction. So I think that played a big part into it. They missed a lot of assignments, weren't in the right gaps, right holes. That is on them. But I mean, freshman quarterback has come in, and I don't know. Did you see where he audibled that last play?
I did slant. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
They've been practicing it all week. He saw it. Great job. Very tough way to come into a game. You tell me you're going to go to Utah, Provo. It's a good atmosphere. A lot of college fans, they love their college football. High elevation, on the road, close game. He did do a good job. I mean, he didn't do anything stellar. He overthrew Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson was shocked that he's like, "What in the world? How am I not behind this already?"
Yeah, he definitely overthrew. But this, don't want to get too much into it because we still got to talk to NFL. Blew my mind though. We had the Kansas game, we had the Oklahoma State game. You get big interceptions, big turnover. And what does Oklahoma do? You're up 7. What do? They run the ball 3 times, get stopped, punt the football. What do they do against BYU? And this is all with, Dylan Gabriel as the quarterback. What do they do against BYU? True freshman quarterback. First play after the turnover, what do? They take a shot down the field. You trust a true freshman quarterback over your fifth-year senior quarterback who should be in the Heisman conversation.
100%.
But you don't let him throw the football, but you let the true freshman do it in the biggest moments of the game.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, and that's another reason why I think Levy is not a legitimate candidate for an A&M job. I heard some people say that.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't think I think he's a couple years away. The offense
Mm-hmm.
is so talented, so good at OU, despite not having the 5-star quarterback that they have, or not having a great running back for a while, and all these different things. I just feel like he's a couple years away from actually doing it, and this is an example of what. Okay, at least maybe he learned his lesson, but they got the win. They're going to play TCU. TCU is fighting for a bowl opportunity here after playing the national championship last year. I don't know. I think I want Dylan Gabriel to be healthy. I think he wants to play on Sundays. I think he'd be a good coach in the future also, like just the way his mind works and his passion. So, and his dad was a coach too. I think it just runs. So I think I could see that in the future. But I think there's almost a guarantee now that Arnold is playing in the bowl game.
Yeah, probably. And like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, is Gabriel going to come back?" I feel like if Gabriel plays another year, it won't be at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think he's done.
He has 1 year left, but I don't think it'll be at Oklahoma because I think it's Jackson Arnold's job next year already. Even as great as Gabriel has played this year, I feel like if he's going to play in college again, it's going to be somewhere else because they're going to give the reins to Arnold next year.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of hope he doesn't play somewhere else. I kind of hope for his sake, either he transitions, either tries to see maybe I can get a backup job in the NFL. Who knows? The NFL needs quarterbacks. Good Lord, they need quarterbacks. We'll get to that. But you look at, I truly think it could probably be coaching in the next level. That's like his next thing. Kind of like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I think. I really don't know if he plays football outside of this year. I think that this is probably it. It seems like that's the way he talked at the beginning of the year, where I don't know if he wants to pursue the NFL, as a quarterback. I'm Brent Venables. I'm hiring the kid on the spot.
Yeah,
I think he would be a great GA leading to an assistant coach at some point. I think I would hire him. Be like, hey, if you don't want to play the bowl game, if you want to play the bowl game, cool. You can play half, and then you can put on the headset and you can coach through the other half.
Jackson Arnold. Let's see what it's going to be. I think they should win this game this weekend. How about this? Have you heard everyone saying, like, obviously OU's probably, because of the complications of it, OU probably doesn't get in the Big 12 championship game, means they don't play in the Alamo Bowl. They don't, which is, I hate anyways, or the Sugar Bowl. But you see an opportunity where they could play USC in a bowl game without Kelly Williams. Wouldn't that be so just absolutely thrash them? Just go in there and no, we're going to smack them around.
Yeah, no, I think it would be fun just to be able to beat Lincoln Riley.
Dude, hold up. Lincoln Riley wouldn't be there. He would have said, you know what? I'm going to head out. I'm taking this Vegas job. I'm not going to be here anymore. Sorry, guys. He would
see the problem with that is like the NFL, they can't really start looking at coaches until a certain period now. They changed the rules. You can't interview anyone. So,
I
don't know.
For the draft, I'm declaring for the NFL coaching candidacy. I'm out. I'm going to focus my talents over there. Dude, that's the type of guy he is.
He probably would. Yeah. He's probably already has it. Probably at the beginning of the year, the Raiders are like, well, we're going to fire Josh McDaniels. So we have a chance, maybe getting Caleb. So maybe you just want to come over and look, talk things over, and you can be the next head coach next year. Yeah.
We'll see. Are you feel good? You want to go ahead and oh wait, sorry, I almost forgot this. College Game Day was at James Madison University, and then whoever the guest was from James Madison said, if they go undefeated, I'm going to call them national champs. Go on and lose to App State. Thank you, Appalachian State, for taking that off the table. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, in overtime.
Yeah, I know. It was great. I thought that was awesome. Transitioning to the NFL now, we are over the halfway mark for sure. Now we are in the thick of it. It's cold weather games. It's games where you got to run the ball, and still teams are still being stupid and not running the ball. I don't know why you don't want to get the ball to your best players who can run the ball and do well. Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, just saying. And you look at teams like the Bengals. We just lost another quarterback, done for the year. which I know we're not going to hold you to this, but you did have them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did have them in the Super Bowl.
But you also had Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I don't think Joe Burrow. I don't think they're gonna win.
Yeah.
If somehow they win with Jake Browning, that would be miraculous. But you got Jake Browning playing quarterback. That guy had one good college football season.
A long time
ago. The rest were a bunch of doo doo.
Yeah, not great. Remember Jake Locker? How he had he's gonna be good. No, he's not. I mean, this is just an absolute blow to the NFL itself, not just to the Bengals, to the NFL. We're seeing so much poor quarterback play, and to lose one of the top 5 guys who was on a roll. It started to really click after the very, very slow start to the season, was getting healthy. And here we are, lost him. Lost also Andrews, done for the rest of the year as well. That's a big weapon, gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's brutal right now on the injury front. And I don't know what's the problem? I know we talked about the turf, the quick turnarounds on the games. Is it just freak accidents? Because these are freak athletes.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what. I mean, you've had 6 starting quarterbacks in the NFL out for the season. Well, I guess maybe not, because it sounds like Aaron Rodgers is going to play in a couple weeks, but maybe if they're in playoff contention, which I doubt they will be. But yeah, 6 quarterbacks that had sustained major injuries already. And yeah, I don't know what it is, because they're all different types of injuries. You had a couple of Achilles, you have Deshaun Watson with the ghost shoulder, whatever happened to that, I don't know. Burrow tears ligaments in his wrist falling on it. Yeah, it's just kind of
out for a lot of the year. He's back.
Yeah,
hurt again. I mean, he didn't get hurt again, but he's been hurt again.
Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles.
Didn't Justin Herbert deal with some nagging injuries earlier?
He has finger all taped up, and I think he hurt his ribs again. The same thing he did. Yeah, Tannehill's out.
Purdy.
Yeah,
dude,
Purdy.
It's bad. And they're doing all these things to protect the quarterback, so that's what's surprising. But also, these are just bad quarterbacks. Geno Smith, did you see that hit he took on his shoulder?
Yeah,
elbow, I guess.
His elbow. Yeah. I mean, Stafford been out for a couple weeks.
Dude, it's not good. It's not good. And you look at the game last night. I don't know if you watched any of the prime time. You probably did. The Vikings and the Broncos, field goal forever, man. It was just Josh Dobbs is doing a great job. The Broncos won again, 4 in a row. They're 5-5. I mean, holy cow, they're doing something. It's weird. They won. I think it's a product of what we have in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, who saw this happening after they gave up 70 to the Dolphins?
I know. For
their defense to all of a sudden turn around and playing pretty solid football. And because we knew that Russell Wilson wasn't the reason why they were losing early on. Russell Wilson had played a lot better this year than he did last year. We knew that it was the defense. You would give up 70 points to the team, and you're looking at it going, wow, this might be the worst team in the NFL, and there's some bad teams this year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, light bulb came on. Oh, wait, we can actually play defense, kind of like we did last year, where we would have scored 18 points last year, and in every single game we would have been like 11-7 or 11-6 or something like that. So I don't know. And it's not like they're just beating bad teams either. I mean, you beat the Chiefs and the Bills in that stretch.
Yeah. So are they a legitimate playoff threat? Like, to make the playoffs, not to go deep in the playoff, but
I think right now, yeah, especially with the Bengals going down, with Burrow going out, who knows what will happen with the Browns and the Steelers. Those two teams are just absolutely garbage, dumpster fire. I don't know how the Browns have 7 wins at this point. I guess that defense is just that good.
Defense is good. I think the quarterback play is that's going to get them. And they also haven't, I mean, the scheduling is so weird this year because there's so many bad quarterbacks. But, I mean, their next couple of games are Broncos, Rams, both on the road, Jags, Bears, Texans, before they end the year with the Jets and Bengals. So, very realistically, this team could somehow stumble their way to 10 wins in a playoff.
Yeah.
It's weird. With P.J. Walker or DTR.
Flacco.
Oh, Flacco. Oh, yeah, he did sign.
They signed Flacco.
Oh, my gosh. That's the relief we're pulling in. Yeah. Baltimore 8-3. They did get the win this weekend. Despite that, I think this is their division to lose, though. I mean, they're the only one with a legitimate quarterback at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That whole division was one good quarterback.
Yeah. When you look at the beginning of the year, and you're like, Sean Watson could bounce back. You've got 3 really good quarterbacks. If Kenny Pickett could finally step up, which he didn't, he hasn't. But this offense, though, is a lot different without Mark Andrews on the field. And Odell Beckham gets hurts his shoulder, doesn't finish the game. Zay Flowers is seems like he's hit that rookie wall.
Yeah.
So, granted, though, the rest of this division is not good. They should win that division pretty easily now.
Yeah. They should.
Yeah, should.
When you look at the Bills, they did get a win this weekend. They played against, you guessed it, the Jets, and the Jets decided that they would rather go with, what's his name?
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle. Have you looked at Tim Boyle's college stats just to see who just pushed Zach Wilson out of this starting
spot? He was the backup in Green Bay for a few years behind Aaron Rodgers.
Detroit, and Chicago. He made his rounds to the NFC North.
Yep. No, I didn't look at those college numbers. No.
Do you know when he played in college?
No.
A decade ago, 2013 to 2017. Do you know what college he played at? It's a trick question. There's 2 of them.
I'm trying to think if this is the. I'm not going to be able to. I don't think so. I feel like he played in Wisconsin at some point.
No,
not at Wisconsin, but at school in Wisconsin. But I could be wrong. I might be thinking of someone else.
Oh, you're good. It's Eastern Kentucky. That was where he graduated from, and UConn.
Okay. Yep. Nope. I was wrong.
All right. So his college stats, UConn, he had 1 season. He had 11 touchdowns, 13 picks. That was his best year. And at UConn, he was absolutely terrible. Had 1 touchdown and 13 interceptions over 3 years.
Jeez.
Dude, that guy just pushed Zach Wilson. What is Zach Wilson even? I mean, this guy is one of the biggest busts I've seen since we had, what's his name? Chargers. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Ryan Leaf?
Yeah, taking this high expectations. Obviously, I don't think they were as high as Ryan Leaf were, but the absolute implode of personal attitude, team management, it's media. It's a disaster, this guy.
Yeah. 2nd pick in the draft, and New York chewed him up and spit him out.
Yeah, absolute. It was terrible. So the Jets, this team is 4-6. They're going to stumble their way to the end of the year. Jets and Patriots, just not good. It's the Bills, Dolphins, Ravens, Jacksonville, Houston, Kansas City right now are the main teams in the playoffs, with obviously the Browns, Steelers just on the outside as well. It's weird to look at, let me see what the playoff option is right now, to look at the Bills, and they're the team that's in the hunt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they haven't played great, honestly.
No.
And Josh Allen leads the NFL in touchdowns and interceptions right now.
Well, those turnovers.
He's having Jameis Winston type season. It just, I don't know. Maybe Ken Dorsey was part of the problem, and they fired Ken Dorsey, and they played better with Joe Barry. But I mean, Joe Barry is a guy that, won a national championship at LSU. Next year goes to Carolina and doesn't even finish the season as the offensive coordinator with the Panthers. So what kind of guy are we getting at this point? I don't know. At least he actually gave James Cook the football, which was the biggest thing. I mean, James Cook actually was productive this week and wasn't like, oh, let's sprinkle in Latavius Murray in here too. And, a couple of these other guys. Just give James Cook the football. You drafted him for a reason.
I know.
Give the kid the football.
Give him the ball, 17 touches, 73 yards. Didn't rush for a touchdown or anything like that, but still.
He caught one.
Yes, yeah. Give him the ball more. I don't understand why these teams are doing this. It makes me so stinking frustrated. Even Royce Freeman got 17 carries this weekend. And guess what? The Rams won.
Yeah, I mean, how hard is it? You drafted the kid, in the 2nd round? You ain't going to give the kid the football. And it's the same thing with the freaking Atlanta Falcons. How do you draft Bijan Robinson 8 and Tyler Algier has out-snapped him and out-carried him the last, 5-6 weeks? How is that possible?
Stupid. This head coach
Yeah,
is so dumb right now.
You need to be fired. GM needs to be fired because you don't take a guy 8th, especially a running back, and not use the kid who has the potential to be a generational type running back the way he, played in college and everything that he can do, run the football, catch the football. The kid is dynamic, and you're not giving him the football. There's a reason why you're starting to lose now. I don't care if you had Desmond Ritter or Taylor Heineke, whoever it is. Give the kid the stupid football.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Saquon Barkley this week, another top pick. Only 18 touches. They won the game, 6 turnovers. I mean, they had short field the whole time. So I think that kind of limited some of the amount of touches he was going to get. But when you have Tommy DeVito, you got to get the ball in someone else's hand, please. Same thing with Washington. 6 turnovers in this game, but gave the ball to Brian Robinson quite a bit. It was what do we have to do to get NFL coaches to understand why running the ball is so important? I'm tired of I keep saying the same thing week after week, and people aren't doing. The Bears were almost beat the Lions this week. Why? And the Lions almost lost. Why?
Running the football.
They ran the ball 46 times. The Lions 22. Lions ran the ball effectively too. 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah. You're telling me you can't find a way to get the ball there more? No, we're gonna have Jared Goff throw it 35 times. He's not a bad quarterback. Come on, what are we doing?
Threw 3 interceptions. You're lucky you got away with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Derrick Henry is a big prime example also. You've got Will Levis in the game. Yes. Will Levis, rookie quarterback. You've got Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL. Just hand the ball to him.
Yeah.
Tyjae Spears could be a good running back in the next couple of years, and I believe he will be. But you got Derrick Henry right now. If you're not going to use him, then why didn't you trade him?
I know. Yeah, should have definitely traded him. And the other thing is they got dominated in this game by time of possession as well. It's 23-36. That's 2/3. So you got to hold on the ball longer. Just get really stinking good at running the ball with offense. And I think that's the easier thing too to figure out is the run blocks. Keep it super simple. I think that's when you can have more success with a bad team is you just dominate the line of scrimmage. That's why the Lions have been good, albeit almost lost this game, is because they've been really good at that aspect of the game. And somehow, dude, this is weird. The Lions are in second place right now in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving week. The Lions are in second place. I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah. But just kind of off your point there, with the Packers in the last 36 times they've handed the ball off to Aaron Jones 17 times, they're 35-1.
Do it again.
They can't now. Aaron Jones is hurt.
Well, AJ Dillon, he's incredible.
Hey, he's hurt too.
Did he get hurt?
He popped up on the injury report. Didn't practice today. Emmanuel Wilson, he dislocated his shoulder. He's third string running back. They just signed Patrick Taylor and James Robinson. I just saw that. Yeah. On a short week against division rival on Thanksgiving.
It's not gonna be good, man.
After Jordan Love has his best game of the season.
I know. Yeah, the Lions could have a good Thanksgiving for once. Gosh, they've had so many bad ones, man. You got, as a Packer fan, you need to sacrifice one for the Lions.
Hey, if we're gonna start winning, I want to win. I don't want to just go, okay, we'll give you a win. You got Chiefs coming up in a couple of weeks. We need this one. If they really realistically are going to try to push for the playoffs, they got to win this one because you ain't beating the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, probably not. That Chiefs defense is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Do you feel after this game or this upcoming week, a big matchup most people didn't see coming was Jags versus the Texans? Texans are rolling again. They won. Really good game overall from CJ Stroud, I think. He's clearly been the best pick so far. Early on, I know, but he's clearly been the best one. This would be a lead in the division if they win this late into the season in November. Who you got in this game? You got Jags with Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud?
Honestly, right now, I don't trust Trevor Lawrence. I don't care how good he played this week. Trevor Lawrence has been very underwhelming all year. He's had 2 pretty solid games last week and week 1. I really haven't seen what I thought Trevor Lawrence would look like, especially with the weapons he has on offense. The offensive line, I will give it, hasn't played great. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to throw the football. But I felt like this is a team that should have absolutely just ran away with this division, and they're not. And we got a team like the Texans where no one expected them to sneak up and be where they're at. CJ Stroud, at this point, has outplayed Trevor Lawrence in his rookie year and on a worse team.
Mm-hmm.
DeMeco Ryan, coaching matters. Coaching absolutely matters. And DeMeco Ryans is a big aspect of why this team is as good as they are right now, along with them drafting really well. Tank Dell. I mean, Tank Dell,
Dude,
kid is absolute stud. And yeah, I think they have a realistic chance. I think they beat them, honestly. I just don't. I'm not betting on Trevor Lawrence right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And just for the record, another one of your draft predictions here. Quentin Johnson with a massive drop. It's what he does, man. He's just not he's not that guy. He's not that receiver. And that's who he is.
It was before, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Before that game, he had no game where he had more than 2 catches and 20 yards.
Yeah.
And then then that week he ended up with like 4 catches for 40 yards or 40 catches for 60 yards. But that's it. Yeah, the dude has bricks for hands.
Yeah, he's just not a good wide receiver, especially at this level. Nope. I don't think his career is going to last too far beyond the actual rookie contract.
I mean, I comped him Kevin White. We saw what Kevin White did in his career.
It's true.
Just saying.
Yeah. You look at the 49ers, this team right now in standings-wise, they are number 3 behind the Lions. Saints are 5-5 and 4th, and this is ridiculous. But how confident are you now in the 49ers with a bounce back 2 weeks in a row?
I think that we've seen the offense kind of work out some of the issues that they had those 3 games in a row where they lost, where, Purdy was turning the football over because the defenses had adjusted to what they were doing, and it seems like now the offense has adjusted. So Purdy has played a lot better offensive-wise. They've got all their guys back now. Debo's healthy, Ayuk's healthy, everyone's healthy. Trent Williams is back. So I think that they've kind of went through their rough patch and have came out on the other side. Brock Purdy's still playing good, so I think they're fine going forward.
Yeah. It should be, especially the way the NFC looks right now. When I'm talking about the Saints in the top 4 team because they win the division, yikes!
Yeah,
yikes!
Yeah, not good. I mean, let's put it this way: the Packers are 4-6 in their 8th place. They're a game out of the playoffs right now.
I know, it's weird. So weird. Who's the next coach that gets fired?
Ron Rivera.
I think it's him or what's his name in
Eberflus?
No, Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, Staley. Yeah, I think Staley probably should be fired. Brandon Staley.
Yeah. Going off on the media, it just does not look good. Writings on the wall. Team's not playing well. They're choking a lot. It's just
especially you lose and you have the highest your quarterback had the highest efficiency this week of all quarterbacks in the NFL, and you lose that game.
Yeah.
And you're the one calling the defense against the offense that has been pretty putrid the last 4 weeks.
It's all right. So as we close out the show, it's Thanksgiving week. So we are gonna do a Thanksgiving. I don't know. Are you a sides or are you the main dish kind of guy, or desserts? We'll throw in desserts in there. Desserts don't get a good rap.
Yeah, you're throwing desserts in there. I'm taking desserts any day.
Really? Pie? Or which pie is it? Or a pecan? What are you doing?
I mean, I love me a good pumpkin pie. But I don't know. We have pumpkin bars. I love pumpkin bars.
Like a bakery item?
No, my mom makes them.
No, I know, but like,
I
meant like
baking. It's basically kind of like a little cake, like a pumpkin cake with the cream cheese frosting on top of it, dude.
I bet that's
so
your mom's making it, man. She's so good.
So yeah, you give me dessert as an option. Dessert's going to be the winner every single time. Like my nephew, he asked me one day, he's like, what's the number one food if you can eat any food ever and never not have to worry about the repercussions? What would it be? Cake.
Any kind of cake.
Any kind of cake, except for maybe something with coconut. I'm not a big coconut guy, but like cake.
I think.
Yeah.
How about this? How about next time that someone asks you that, you should be like, I can and I do eat cake every day. Like you gotta hey, no repercussions, man. Life is good. I love cake.
Yeah. Hands down cake anytime.
Yeah. I am upset because I grew up and I didn't really like turkey. I was always more of the sides guy. So, and I'm not really a sweets guy. I'm always more the savory. So if it is going to be dessert, it's apple pie or peach cobbler or just something like that, but no ice cream. Ugh.
Oh, that's I have to have the ice cream with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw the ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. As I always lean towards the sides. Up until the last couple of years when I moved to Kansas City, we never had mac and cheese as a side that I can remember.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so frustrated that so many years of my life I didn't have it because I'm a sides guy. Really great mac and cheese. I'm a stovetop stuffing guy. Love the stovetop mashed potatoes, all that kind of stuff. I always enjoyed it. All that said, last year for Thanksgiving, I think we did takeout Chinese. It was one of those days where we're like, we're just going to do this. It's going to be different. So,
yeah, we just have our own little thing. We'll do some Chinese food real quick.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. They're open. So,
hey, there you go.
I did try to go to the store to buy a bunch of Cheez-Its for work today. Sam's. And dude, there was no spots open. And I was like, what are you all doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like, what are you buying? Like 30 turkeys for $1? Like, it's in bulk. You can't buy Thanksgiving stuff at Sam's. It's too big.
It was like that like last week. We went somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And we're like, what is going on? It's like a week before Thanksgiving. I understand, but you can't buy some of this stuff. You got to wait until week. Yeah, it's nuts. The holiday seasons are here, and good luck getting anywhere.
And what better gift in the holiday season than a subscription to the W Sports Podcast? Why? Because it's free. So why not get on our best Black Friday deal ever? And it's a free subscription or downloadable podcast wherever you listen to podcasts with the W Sports Podcast. And hey, it also comes with a free opportunity to review us. We would love that. Make sure you share the podcast. You guys are great. As we go into Thanksgiving, we're always thankful for you all, the listeners, the people who jump in the chat, the people who make sure that we're talking about what you guys are thinking about in the world of sports. So we always appreciate you coming in. Tubby, any words about Thanksgiving, what you're thankful for?
I mean, obviously we're thankful for y'all, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be where we are right now with the podcast. But family, everything, so thankful for them, health, all that. But yeah, I mean, you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Listen to the podcast, go back, listen to some episodes, maybe go listen to some draft recap and see how right Tubby was when it came to some of the players.
Yes.
Looking real good. But yeah, just thankful for y'all. I mean, because we wouldn't be where we are without y'all.
Yeah, and I do like that. Go back. This is a great time to go back because into the college football season, middle of the NFL season, go back and see how we did, how we predicted stuff. And I think it's just a great time. So you can scroll up, re-download that, share it with someone else. We really appreciate you guys. Caleb, thank you so much for the shout out on the comment section there. We really appreciate you guys. Till then, we will see you all next Monday.
See ya.
See ya.